Hey, Planeswalkers, hope you're doing well and staying safe. Welcome to this week's episode of Friday Night Meta, weekly series here on the Multiverse. Very excited to have you here where we break down standard, alchemy, historic brawl, best of one, best of three. We'll take the latest and greatest look at what's happening on in the meta of all things Magic the Gathering Arena, my friends. So yours truly, Mythras here, meta master, to walk you around everything and get moving here today. So appreciate your support as always. Flip me a like, smash the subscribe, stay around for a while because we got a ton of stuff going on. If you have a question or comment throughout the episode, let me know down below. Love to hear from you, or just if you want to say hi in the comments, and feel free to hop in the Discord server. Other great ways to support the channel as well. But let's get moving here because this is what you want to see. So standard best of one, we're going to start with here. Right out of the gate, we got Naya Humans here tearing things up in April. This is the first kind of full week that we've seen here of the meta for Kamigawa. So let's keep moving. We got mono white aggro. Naya still doing well with ruins. We got Selesnya enchantments. Really the top four decks dominating in three colors. Then we got Orzhov control, mono black control, Esper control making a play, and then Rakdos sacrifice. You can see what's being played the most. Obviously mono white aggro, Naya Humans being the second most played. Everything else kind of around 5%. In the meta. Now we can see the trends here, which is always important. The reset, mono white aggro still stayed very, very heavy. We did see a little bit of a dip here, and then you can continue to see the Naya Humans slowly creeping up, and then everything kind of there in terms of win rates. Now again, this is at the aggregate pace. Let's drill into the more competitive scene. Not going to be a ton of Mythic right now because it's still fairly early, so we'll just stop at Platinum and take a look here. We got Naya Humans, mono white aggro, Naya Runes, everything kind of still staying the same in terms of the meta. When we get to more competitive scene, maybe a little bit more of a drop off in terms of mono whites. We do see some compression here in the wins as well going down, with that Esper control starting to really move up, and then equally so we see a little bit here going on with the Naya Runes getting a little bit better as well. Huge fall off in terms of Rakdos sacrifice also in this space, so some big changes there. So that's standard best of one. Let's blow this all the way back out. We're going to go ahead and look at best of three here and see what we have going on. Rakdos sacrifice being the powerhouse right now for best of three, being played right around the middle of the meta. Most of it's around 4 to 8%. We got Orzhov control being the top played deck, while on the flip side, being number 2 right now in win rate. We got Selesnya ramp, Naya Runes, mono white aggro, Esper control, Izzet Dragons, and Azor's control in the space. We can see how things are moving around here, kind of steadily sideways. We see a fairly small drop there in Orzhov control in terms of what's happening. A big pickup in terms of Selesnya ramp early out of the gates, and then some of the other stuff kind of creeping back up in terms of the space of the meta. Everything kind of consolidating here in terms of win rates. We do see Rakdos sacrifice starting to pop back up, but a lot of consolidation there, a little bit around that 55% for you in best of three. So that is the aggregate. Let's go ahead and take a look at the more competitive space. Again, Rakdos sacrifice still doing well. Orzhov control, mono white aggro, Esper control, most of it looking the same in terms of what we saw at an aggregate level as well there, my friends. Next, let's blow this all the way back out. We're going to go look at our awesome alchemy. We know that there's been a few changes in the space, so we can see that with the data. Let's try and do a quick refresh here and see if that's going to change anything. Not too much, but we can see certainly what's happening. Rakdos, Golgari, and Azorus being the key decks here. Again, Rakdos 56, Azorus there, Golgari, lots of new things going on. We can see not as much data, again, given all the changes here this week when it comes to alchemy, and that's exactly what we're seeing with the rebalancing there. So very fast and furious. We've only had a couple of days, but that will give you a good idea of what's mostly being played, at least hot out of the gate here for you alchemy players. Let's go ahead and go to the competitive scene. Everyone's on Rakdos. So there you go, 55% Rakdos it is. Let's pull this all the way back out. I'm going to guess and speculate for best of three. We're not going to have a ton of data. Absolutely similar. Grixis in there in that space. So we'll go ahead and move on into historic now. So for historic, here's what we got going on. Selesnya Heliod or Squirrel Twin still doing very well. We see mono red aggro heavily played here. Mono red burn, mono red aggro, lots of the top played decks. Selesnya Heliod's kind of in the middle of the pack there actually in terms of played, but still having that best win rate. And then you can see popularity over time. Mono red aggro again, usually making that huge jump out of the gate. Like we see here, as I like to coach to as well, when it comes to the reset for the month. Then again, we look at the win rates. So mono red kind of slowly falling off there. We got Selesnya Heliod doing better, and then mono red burn also doing better there in terms of what's happening. And is it Phoenix? So keep an eye on those decks, obviously, for best of one. Now, as we move into best of three, I'll go back to that actually, sorry. Let's get into some more competitive space, see if there's anything that changed. Mono red burn, Selesnya Heliod, mono red again, 20%, huge on the play. And again, doing a little bit better here at the competitive scene as well in terms of the win rate. So let's pop back out here. We'll move over to best of three now. I gave you that preview already. Azorius Auras, mono red aggro, Gruul aggro, Azorius Affinity, and the rest of the decks. Is it Phoenix being the number one played deck, coming around in the middle in terms of win rate? Azorius Auras doing really well in terms of that. Look at this. Is it Phoenix just absolutely skyrocketing here off the reset? It was already high there as well, and given a lot of the tournaments and those things going on, certainly impacting that. And then we see that Azorius Auras doing very well there in terms of win rates and making it a part of that meta. Again, certainly cycling. It had fallen out for a while, but now certainly doing much better. Again, here's what we got going on in terms of the competitive space. Similar there. We see, is it Phoenix coming down a little bit? We see Azorius Auras doing a little bit better. Auras getting to 10%. We do have Affinity here as well. And then the rest of the pack at 50%. We have a Rakdos mid-range creeping in there. Rakdos Arcanus, Azorius Control, Azorius Affinity, and the works for the rest of those decks when it comes to best of three. All right, let's blow this all the way back out and go to Historic Brawl, my friends. All right, so for Historic Brawl, we got Niv Mizzet Reborn being the top deck right now. So a little bit of a big change in terms of last time that we covered this. We got Kinnan Broader Prodigy, Muxus Goblin. Look at this. Love Muxus. Boom. For those of you that enjoy the Muxus. Let's get back there. We did the wrong thing. There we go. All right. We got Synthis, Azika, Joda, Azusa, and Yoroke. We can see percentage played again, roughly that 2%. Niv Mizzet with the 61% beating out Kinnan. We can see some of these changes here in terms of what's happening and stuff bouncing around as well for those of you that want to take a look at that. So Planeswalkers, fast, gas, and furious here. And lit when we talk about today's episode in the weekly meta. So very excited to see what's going on here. Looking forward to the new set as well, because that's going to make probably a fairly large impact. We'll see. As always, some pretty cool stuff, and keep an eye on that. And certainly, obviously, lots of the folks talking in the Discord around Brawl impacts as well. All right, so quickly here, some events that happened. So this was about a little over a week old. So last week, so let's look at this. We had about 200 participants in Standard. What's going on here in Standard with the Good Game Tour? And this is what we have going on. Boom, Esper Planeswalkers. So certainly an impact there. We saw that start to pick up. We got Azorius Control, Golgari midrange, Mono White aggro, Orzhov midrange, Boros aggro, Mono White aggro, Rakdos midrange, Orzhov midrange. So let's go ahead and again, like I said, format Standard. So a little bit different in terms of what we saw, in particular for the arena meta, but this is a good tournament to give you a good look. Let's go ahead and see if we can look at number of decks, percent of field. Here we go. 29 on Esper Control, Selesnya tokens, Mono White aggro, Orzhov midrange, Jeskai combo, Zoros. You can see the win rates here: 55, 46. Selesnya tokens into Ruel, Mono White aggro still holding up. Orzhov midrange, and there you go. So Esper Control really doing well, holding out there, taking things down as well. So that's a good one for us here in terms of last week. All right, so to kind of come full circle on today's episode, Planeswalkers, thank you as always. We covered off on Standard, Alchemy, Historic, Brawl, Best of 1 and Best of 3, giving you the latest and greatest in terms of what's happening, helping you position the decks for what's going on here, and giving you the best information to be on top of your game as always here. So thank you so much for your support. Flip me a like, smash subscribe button. Would love to see you around some more. Stay tuned because we got more weekly series as always, and a whole host of other stuff here on the channel between our favorite top decks across Standard, Alchemy, Historic, and lots of other things here. So stay tuned because we got a ton coming your way. With that said, you have a great weekend or rest of your weekend. And last but not least, we'll see you again soon. Until next time, my friends and Planeswalkers, Mythras out.